Bravo. We're 50 points off the track, baby.
In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. Through city streets and temples high, find your story beneath the sky. Waves scratch, pumping out your sense. Harmony flows to the best of lands. In the neon glow, there is bent. The culture rich where reason sense. In the morn of grace, we'll dance the night with every star, a guiding light. In Japan, where the sun will always shine, traditions collide with the future's line. The cherry lanes and
Well, I just
soaring
got myself
heights,
in a
find your
valve already.
magic near the moonlit nights.
Alrighty, guys, we're live. Trying to get some stuff, trying to fix the European side of things. And I've been having some issues where I would, you know, that spot that I did in the last stream where I crashed. Well, guess what? You guys can go check that out, and if you guys can help me out figure out what's going on, I'll let you know. But that's within the setup for tonight, I'm gonna try to be live. I'm gonna be live until whenever, but tonight we're gonna do a little bit of some driving. If you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna end the stream when driving is done, like I did yesterday, with Age of Empires 2. I was gonna showing you guys a map that I created, that you guys can watch. But tonight I'm gonna be live basically till probably however long. They only show 4 hours for it through Blue Sky, but I'm gonna be live playing Euro Truck, probably for a little bit, maybe at the latest. Do it, and then tomorrow I've really got to pick up the pace. I really have slouched again on certain things, but anyway, we'll play at least Euro Truck for a little while, until basically 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tonight. That's how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be a 3-hour stream at the, right now it's 6, it'd be 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, that'd be at least the max 3 hours on Euro Truck. Normally I'm not live at this time. I might not do that live at this time of night. And there's a reason why I don't go live at this time of night, because of reasons of for reasons of the importance of really understanding that we have some issues with that. But anyway, let me check the bank. We still got you. It's 1.3. We will get close to paying that one off. Once I get that paid off, I think we'll be a-okay. But for right now, and I'll tell you, I still have that issue of, like, I load in utilizing this thing, not load, but let's go over to cargo. We will follow the... That's the medical equipment. We'll start with the most expensive, the biggest one, and we'll just take it. I'm not, like, right now, if we go to services, we go to the bank, we pay about that much daily. This will cut back down, this will cut back on a little bit of that we can start maybe figuring out a way to start paying that off. Four things for it. And I'll tell you, it's not like a hard thing to play or pick where we're going and stuff, but today, since we're going 3 hours, I might as well just pick one, and then we'll pick another one, and maybe take a couple of that going in through it all. I do have some things. I haven't situated some other things. I haven't situated within the stream bot. But I do have it where if you do have first words and I'm not quite there to see your first words, then for it, then I have a notification that basically will play a sound that'll just allow for me to hear that when it comes up for it. I need to... I was... I don't care right now. In a game like this, like, there's nobody back there, so it's like, that's the only thing I don't do. Is because I don't know how else to come around and try to explain. And I was thinking I was driving on the right-hand side of the road. Again, I do that sometimes, where, you know, driving in Japan or driving in America or driving in Europe, like, sometimes, like, I think that I'm supposed to be driving on the right-hand side of the road when I'm driving on the left. For it. But, there's a couple of things that I'm going to tell you that there's a few things. First off, there's a couple, mainly the highlight of for today's stream is going to be pretty much basically getting into talking about the hypocrisy that hegesth has done. That one. The second one is Idaho and them becoming a do not travel state for a lot of reasons, and of course for the trans community, to be more precise, and the other one, and those are going to be the two big ones. And then Sony, again, we'll talk about some Sony again on physical goods and stuff, just because it needs to be said. The other one, the final one, that I will, and there may be some other things that we might end up talking about as well. This one's not going to be the big highlight. This one's just going to be quite topic of mention, and we'll start with this one. That's not listed because, to be honest, um, the one thing that I will tell you is that um, is that tonight there's a big speech going to be happening tonight, and that big speech is supposed to be is going to be coming from Trump, and that speech is not going to be aired on NBC and ABC. They're not gonna highlight it. They're not gonna talk about it. They might talk about it, but they're not gonna highlight it on their platform. And I'm kind of if I really want to stand by and listen to national news, I would rather listen to NBC than CBS these days. And I still don't trust national news as much as I used to. Um, I would sit and watch CBS and NBC for quite a long time until Trump came into office the second time. Fudge. um, quite a lot. Um, and now it's kind of like I don't, and for a lot of reasons. Mainly CBS, because CBS quite does not quite um, does not quite actually listen to um, does not quite do the facts as much as they used to. Um, they literally will just basically allow Trump to say what he has to say, and that'll be pretty much basically it. And that's kind of why I'm not with. That's why I'm not with or following in the belief of Donald Trump or CBS anymore as I used to. Now that doesn't mean that I'm talking about just CBS News in general. In general, I am not talking about local, like CBS from like your New York or Minnesota or things like that. I will still kind of occasionally read a CBS News article. It doesn't mean I'm going to, but I'm just not gonna watch it. And where you guys are gonna see me why I'm saying that I will do this on an occasion is because something might just come up and I see the highlight and read it. Okay, but I don't sit there and listen to these things. And I don't because I want to listen to a lot of places that do send out the facts, and a lot of things is like you go and you listen to these places, and it's like my brother. It's like one of the things that some people will get their facts wrong. They get their facts wrong. They go out and believe that New York Mayor Mamdani literally is basically saying that he's ending rent. He's basically saying, no, you don't pay rent. No. It's not that he's ending rent. He's just freezing the rent. He's not like ending rent for the city of New York. He's just making sure that rent doesn't go up for a couple of years. Just for a couple of years. Yes, it's still gonna hurt. A lot of times it will still hurt a lot of people who deserve to have that rent and need that rent to begin with. But it's still nowhere anywhere going to be directly stopping rent or basically paying no rent. And yes, that's the whole thing is like you gotta sometimes get your facts straight and where you're coming from. It's like look, I went and actually looked and fact checked and looked at where it was coming from is CBS News, New York said that, and I believe a couple other places said it too that talked about it. Rent freeze. Rent freeze does not mean that, and yes, it may say that, oh, it's gonna rent freeze. No, rent freeze just basically says that the rent that you are paying, the rent that you pay is gonna stay for X amount of time. So it's always a good idea to to not just believe right-leaning media and believing left-leaning media either. Having a little bit of both and having the thing and looking at fact-checking people. You know, having both sides. Like I don't follow. Now I don't follow Fox News. I don't follow these things. I don't follow Fox News because Fox News doesn't always get everything right, and they don't. So I don't. The only people that I absolutely will listen to and study and listen is Midas Touch. It's the only platform, the only other platform that I will literally listen to and follow for that platform in and all of it together. On it. So those are the only time. That's the only time that I will absolutely listen to. The only one that I really absolutely sit down and listen to. I don't listen to. I listen to Brian Tyler Cohen, Tennessee Brando, Jesse Dollamore, Brittany Page, a couple of those people. Okay, and David Pakman. Okay, those are the people that I listen to. Those are the people that are right there that I listen to. I don't sit there and these are people, and I listen to Fair and Cousins, Fair and Balanced, basically. Those channels, directly listening to them. I would highly recommend you guys go listen to them. I would highly recommend you guys go and do it. Those are the people. I want to go to 65 to 66. Just bring it up because I don't want to, like, there's a vehicle that's up here, but I don't want to go. Okay, so now we've got 2 lanes. This is where I will do that. So it's one of those things where those are the places that I get my news from. Not all of it. I also get my news from Newsbreak and Smart News. A lot of things I get my news from is not just those places. I get them from news articles like LGBTQ Nation, Pink News, The Advocate, are some of the other places I do get my news from. So don't just think that I get my news from a lot of that. The other one that I do get my news from, that I do get my news from, is from Erin in the morning, and from her, because that's where I get a lot of those things where I will specifically follow and listen to for news, for good reason. And the reason why I listen to Erin in the morning is because she talks about a lot of things that relate to the trans community and the news going on Now this isn't always me going out and listening to Aaron in the morning either. It's that's where I get the trans news, and that's where I get a map update to show you guys that these are the things where things do get updated and fixed, and where we suggested where we shouldn't be going. Now, a lot of times, if you are looking at these maps, the other place that I also look at is the maps, the Advanced Movement Project, and Equaldex are the couple other place sources that I do look into that relate to the United States and things like that. But I do go to the maps first before I go to Equaldex for the US. But I do go to Equaldex for the national look when it comes to these things. And so this is how I know that, that I look at these issues. And basically, when I'm talking about the Idaho thing, why Florida has a different reason why we do not travel. It was the first country issued outside of just places to travel to. But these 4 states that are issued a do not travel, I said I thought it was Utah at one point, but it's actually not Utah. But it is close enough to where it could probably be issued as a do not travel as well. But Idaho, Florida, Idaho, Kansas, and Texas are all considered on this list. Kansas is because you're going to be revoked for your license for being trans. They can revoke your license and then get yourself, and then on top of that, when they revoke your license and say you have to go back with this, and then you have to, and it's like and then a cop comes in and looks and says you have false identification. Having false identification because there was a lady that got herself into trouble when it was marked M, but the cop basically said, no, that's false information, that's illegal, and that was false information, basically got a citation or whatever, or considered breaking the law because of false information, when in reality it was legitimate information that had the marker changed, had the marker changed back because of the law, and got into trouble with the police. So this doesn't fix the issue of people dress and look and appear female, and then they judge and they say no, that's false information when the marker is M. But then you could also, when you go and look at a male and do the same thing, it's wrong and for it. And Texas is for a lot of other reasons, for a lot more probably other reasons, for basically 80% of trans people 80% of all things done with trans people cannot get the care that they need. If you are a Floridian and you live there, best thing you can do is you still have the opportunity. If you're an adult, you still have chances. You can still fight. Fight Ron DeSantis, fight the Florida, and try to
イベント録画が行われました。
Okay, do we have we do not where we have to think about the things that we do and the things um, uh, for it. And then I think Texas is even different from what Kansas and even Florida are doing, and it's all based on those things where you want to hurt trans people because you know because you say that they're harming women, or because they're saying that, oh, we don't want men in women's spaces. Yeah, yeah, I don't want men in women's spaces either to begin with. But a trans person who transitions to be female is not going to harm anyone to begin with. Uh and if it does happen, it's gonna take years before that ever goes through, because people are gonna find the signs most of the time we'll find the signs before things happen. Okay? And it's like you want to prevent that. And then they also do the same thing in Idaho. Idaho basically is now the reason why we do not have is because of private um it's literally private bathroom usage, literally. um that if you go to a private business and you happen to be trans and you use the women's restroom, you can get seriously into trouble with it. And it's like, okay, so now you're just trying to harm women in general, because there are going to be women who are going to look like that they're male, but they're not, because there are women out there that are um, directly relation to like if you're lesbian, for example, and you know and you look at it and you say, okay, one looks more masculine than the other because of it, and it's going to affect those who look masculine than it is at any point, and it's going to look like that, and it's going to be like you're basically, they're going after you. They're going after you because you are because you look masculine, you don't look women, and they do that. So that's the thing, that a lot of these things that they believe will happen. But look, I was watching a thing where, it's been a while since I've seen it, but men can just go into the restroom without having to be without having to transition to hurt a woman. If you actually really think about it, a lot of these bathrooms, when you go and you look at Walmart, or you go and look at these places in the United States where bathrooms are open and anybody can just walk in, okay? Not like if there's nobody around, a guy's gonna walk right on in, and it can happen. A child can be easily snatched when you're not paying attention, easily, and you do not have to transition to do these things. All of these things can happen just because because of that. And it can happen to anybody. Okay? You don't have to transition to get any of these things. And let me be clear that with the problem now, of course, if you go into Idaho, and it started effectively July 1st of this year. So if you unless you use a unisex bathroom in Idaho, you are pretty much basically screwed. And they wanted to even legislate even that. They wanted you to not use the restroom at all. And it was really horrible. To be honest, it's really bad. It is really bad when I look at the these places that go out and look at the consequences. They don't they only look out in one direction. They don't look at the consequences that happens when there are people who are not transgender, who are not like that at all. It affects everybody. And that's the problem. Is they don't really think about the implications of the consequences. And when they do, they just say, "And this is never going to happen." This is never going to happen. Yeah, it's never going to happen. Yeah, right. It's going to happen at some point. Just because it say it's never going to happen doesn't mean it won't. Okay? But that it has happened. There are places where, they did it with abortion, where it has happened. Where women who happen to have to need it because of complications with what's going on in the body, they wanted to get rid of it. They didn't care. They didn't care about the consequences. They only look about hurting women. Most men don't really see the understanding of women. Most men just think for themselves, or don't even, or mostly don't understand women because they're not women. And that's the truth. That most men will never understand that. And there are a lot of people out there that aren't transgender. They aren't trans, and a lot of these people that legislate on harming trans people, they don't know trans people, or they do and they just still don't care, and they don't understand, or they don't understand in general. And it's like they don't seem to really get that. And it's not just affecting the United States, it's also affecting in the UK too. It's effectively problematic in a lot of other countries that had laws that were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that were, in 2015, that, were not affecting livelihoods. 10 years ago, trans people were seen as not a problem. 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago. And now they're all going after trans people because that is like 10 years ago that was going on. Russia, 10 years ago, did not have these problems until recently. And UK too. A lot of these countries that were revered as great places to be for trans people that were great for it, are not great anymore. Or even LGBTQ people, for having at least some respect. There are a lot of places that still have that respect that are 10 years ago, that are still there, that are really good today, that are there. Is Iceland. Iceland is one of those countries that are still there, but look at the thing is don't just, but then you can also just don't look and say that there's problems with other things, but there is a couple of things that are much different, that are different, comparable. That but then you go and look at Japan, and Japan's kind of one of those countries that is different than the rest of the world, and completely not backwards, but completely different from the rest of the world, that I actually like a lot of Japan. I actually, a lot of the things that Japan has done is really nice. I really like what Japan is doing and what Japan has done within the country itself, and laws, and a lot of things that I really like about, some of the unwritten rules, like wearing masks. When you're sick, you go and wear a mask. You are sick, and they've had this even before COVID. Most people, when you were in 2015, they still wore masks. They still did these things. They were just doing it to protect people. And yes, there are still people that would still get sick. Yes, you would still get sick, but it's because a lot of times people don't wear masks, or they just get tired of wearing it, and it happens. But when you go and you look at um um when you go and you look at these places, there are these things that within Japan that really do fixate on a that do have a lot of good ruling and good legislation, except for when it comes to LGBTQ. It's the only thing I do not like about Japan. About it, it's and having too much of a work culture. And no, yes and no, but I also will say, like, too much work is like having too much work is good, is not good, but having too little, it's always things in moderation to begin with. It's always do things in moderation. That's why when you look at pop, I only drink 2 things of pop a day, and that's it, because it's all about moderation in what we do. Yes, I eat pasta twice a day sometimes, but a lot of times it's like I have it just in the afternoon with just cheese, but I have a lot of cheese. I love my cheese. It's the only thing that outside of that's the one thing I love the most, is there's like there's 3 things when it comes to food. Is like I love cheese, I love cheese, I love my peanut butter and butter, where I basically go and take like a stick of butter. um I will cut a little bit off to cover the bread. If I grab a little bit more, I use it on the other side, and then I grab some peanut butter and put it on there, and it just tastes so good, you know. But it's like those are the only 2 things that I think I really eat too much of. But it's there, and I'll tell you, there is some things where before, but on the other side of the coin is that when you look at Japan, LGBTQ being present in schools is absolutely is absolutely a good thing. Okay. So they are slowly changing a little bit, but it's it's not like everything. Like, I don't like Japan slowly changes. Japan's culture a lot of times it does hinder a little bit in some regards, where people are just, have a public facing, have a private, a public, and a like a work mask, I believe. Like they do, and it's just one of those things that I think that too much of some of those things. Like, I'm not opposed to a lot of things that Japan does. I will tell you that. Like, I'm not somebody that fully, um, fully against the culture that they do. I like their culture. That's one of the reasons why I keep watching John all the time from Only in Japan. You know, why I'm like I'm happy with Japan the way it is. Just 99%, 90% of the time I'm happy with it, and I'm like, great. I love that about Japan. And I don't have anything against Japan or anything. There are some things where I don't agree with, but that's just like, you know, if you look at it and you criticize a country, should be allowed to criticize. You should be allowed to criticize. Um, you should be allowed to criticize um, your country. You should be allowed to. You should be allowed to criticize your country. You should be allowed to okay. I thought I could go that way, but no. Trust me, I am dumb when it comes to because I'm so used to I haven't um I haven't gone this way and gone this way or this way. I've always gone in a different place. Kojima. No. I believe it's yeah, it's gonna be Tokyo is where we're headed. To Dayaku. To Dayaku. That's where we're headed is Dayaku. But when it comes to just trying to figure out you know, understanding trans people, it's difficult, but it's difficult knowing, to be honest, let me be clear, it is more difficult in understanding the difference of somebody else other than your own. Okay? You are going to understand your kids more than anybody else. You're going to understand your kids more than anybody else. But at the same time, so it's I know you're supposed to I know you're supposed to turn on that side, but to be honest, I have a hard time. That's the only thing I do. It's not just here in Japan, it's also in America. I do the same thing. I have problems driving. And to be honest, I'm thinking my truck. Uh, we're going to Dayaku, right? We do have um. Yeah, I'm already in the lane for it, so we'll just have to keep going. No. But I have trouble driving in Europe. And it's not that I don't have troubles. There's one thing I do have trouble when I drive in Europe, and there is only one, and that is just the light situation in Europe is not like I can drive anywhere. I can drive about almost anything. But the lights in Europe, they don't have it set across the road. They have it right in front of you when you need to stop. That one I have a hard time with. So for directly, but no, okay, it's 80 here, but I'm only in this lane. But I have a sneaky suspicion I'm gonna need to be in the. No, it looks like it could go that way too. That I could have gone that way. But if I would have, it would just recycle itself, so no. So, and when you don't quite understand trans people, it really does make some problems. Now, of course, there are some people that say they will not, like Pete Hicks has said, that we're not going to spend on help on transgender care. When most of the time, HRT is the only thing would be covered, but now you're going to cover people with testosterone. Hegesth is now going to allow for them to be fully covered under that, when trans people aren't going to get coverage at all, when trans people are being gutted from the military, trans people aren't getting the care. They don't. It's the hypocrisy right there. It's like you're willing to give all men testosterone, men, but yet you won't allow trans people to get that. Gender affirming care. A lot of people don't realize gender affirming care does not just affect trans people. Gender affirming care includes things like making sure that you affirm. Gender affirming care affirms the gender you're trying to. Gender affirming care includes um, women who transition to be a man, men who transition to be a woman, non-binary, women and men who do not transition at all, men who need testosterone, women who need the estradiol or whatever the equivalent to the male is, because to be honest, for it. I'm not going that one, I'm going to go down to the one over here. Yeah. Because even though that's right off the beaten path right there, in order to get back on, I'd have to... I might be able to cross back, but I don't know because I might have to go over that way, so I'm not going to. So I'll just go to the other one. So it's like, you know, you look at all these things that when you have the understanding of what's going on, it's really sad. It's really sad to see people. It's really sad to see people not to really sad to see people claim one way and then claim another way, and it makes it so much a big huge problem with it. And it's a problem when you know, you say you don't want this, but then you go and you say you want the but then you go and being a hypocrite, basically saying one thing and then saying it, but then your actions will speak louder than your words a lot of times. So when you basically say that, oh, I'm gonna end the reduce gas prices. I'm gonna say I'm gonna reduce gas prices, but then I don't reduce gas prices. You do the opposite of what you're actually going to do. That's a hypocrite, you know. There's a couple of things that I will tell you is like, look, I am somebody that's against guns. When it's in the hands of criminals, but I'm also against when they decide to ban guns. Okay, and those are the things that, you know, that I am not that I think that we should start by making sure that our schools are set up with the appropriate procedure for having bulletproof glass in our schools, making sure that is there, you know, making sure that and then making sure that that at least we have watch guards on staff, at schools, trained for, and I think we should have that, and then we should also have the secretary trained, the person that you go and see when you go and visit a school. I think those are the 3 people should at least be trained throughout the school process. Those are the 3 people that should really be there. You know, those are the people that I would say right there, for it, to having that just on hand. So, there's not a lot that I will completely will tell you that, and then there are things that bother me even more. That's not, the trans issue is the one thing that bothers me the most. That really, that they don't care about trans people. They only care about what they want for themselves. And I also I don't agree with of 1.2 right now, so let's go to service. Right now, I need to start figuring out. Okay, you can't get that. You are 1.9. Okay, you're gonna that's 9 for service recommended. If we were to do service recommended, it's 9 for it, which is not great. Okay, well, there's no way I can fix this vehicle up. Wait a minute. I have made that grave mistake. Yeah, but then you look at it and it's like, can I go across? No. So then we just go this way, even though the arrows. But it does not tell me I can't do a U-turn here, though. It doesn't say I can't do a U-turn here, but I'm not going to. Because we got plenty of time to finish this. We got enough time that I can take the scenic route a little bit. Yeah, because I need to pay off a lot of it. We might need to see how much it would cost. Yeah, see, I am not noticed you were coming out that way. But like I can't drive for worth it. That's why I play games like this. But apparently, um, you know, don't act stupid. Like I don't try to act stupid in this game. Sometimes like my malfunction is because I've had this issue of where it's not easy to see a um at night it's not easy to see a certain thing in one spot, and so my truck has gotten a lot of damage from that specifically. There's one spot in this whole entire thing that I cannot seem to drive within within that always seems to get the most damage within this. Like it's the only spot because I always have this hard time did we just well, I guess I could have come down here and did it over there, but I'm just so used to driving in America, like, we're just driving like that. I don't quite get everything. But if we can do this one here. And 15 extra XP. I wish it would vary a little bit on that. Okay, let's go to the bank. Okay, I'm paying that off now. Okay, I'm wanting to change my truck out. So if I wanted to sell the Iveco, it would be about 9,812.950 yen, or not 9,812,950. Okay, if we were to go over here to services, go over to used truck, and remember, we have to switch to right hand, the right side, not the left. The Renault Premium is, the Scania is the only one for it. But see, like 33 so this is the Renault Premium normal is more better, and it has, but see, it has an 84064, where this has a 45765. It's a slightly worse condition, but if we would have enough to get this, just to change out the Iveco Highway. But if we do the Iveco, this is the Iveco S-Way Active Space. This one, like, selling it off to get this and then trying to fix it up is not going to do us any better service. If we went with the DAF, Mercedes, that Mercedes is still great. The Renault, there. Now this one, we might be able to fix some, like the engine. We'd be able to fix the engine for sure. We would also be able to fix the transmission with an upgrade for that one. Chassis, we would still end up having to spend that, and probably, but this one with the Renault Premium normal roof is the only other one. But if we go to services, let me go to catalog, Truck Explorer. Okay. It's the Renault Premium. It would be coming in the normal roof. And if we do upgrade to the high roof, the high roof does give us that. Is that if we do go to use Renault? It is the premium high roof. This one's a premium high roof. It is much more drivable. Whoa. Hold on. Whoops. Yeah, the premium high. This is a premium high roof. At 430. So this one would be us upgrading to the Renault, and I think we might upgrade to the Renault. So we could go. Let's go over here. Used. Go to truck manager. The Iveco Highway. I like the Iveco, but it is this. But then we come down here. Here we go. We purchase you. And we are at 1.1 mil still. That just means that we don't have to go out and that means we are back down here with the typical regular truck. I don't understand. Okay, so trailer has now been attached. Okay, so then we're going to up that way. Yeah, we're gonna have to drive a different truck right now. Right now, because I am not gonna sit there and try to have that thing bark at me. That looks like it's only a one-way, so... But... But I will make that rotation there. Because... I don't try to do U-turns a lot within this game, Um, in general, I don't do U-turns when applicable. Um, I know traffic laws in Japan are a little bit different. A lot different than Europe and other. I don't need to really do that, I don't think. And the Renault truck. Oh, are you kidding me? No, it's like, yeah, you show the picture on the map is different. It's here. Like, yeah, the picture on the map is a little bit different. I have to remember that when I'm down here. Okay, so that's the new truck. Now, of course, I'm still going to keep the trucks that we have and the trucks that I use when applicable. But here, need a vehicle configurator. The trailer is nope. The only thing I'm doing is I'm coming down here to do that. The Titan Samurai. Okay, see, that's what the UK standard is. That's the UK standard. Um, 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 okay. That's the ambient light. Let me go down here. Pride flag. I'm still gonna keep that there. Okay. I do like the customizable wheel, but need to look for Renault. that's just standard. Standard. Galachilan, thanks for the follow, by the way. Thank you, thank you. I like the 3-spoke black, and it does not have the truck symbol, because I don't have, the thing is I have the Scania and the Volvo, but I do not see, is we have the 4-spoke Renault, unless we have the 3-spin Renault, but we do not. There's Freightliner, there's the Mac, there's the Mercedes, there's the Peterbilt. There's Freightliner, Western Star, Mac, Mercedes. But I do not see anything directly for it. So I could just stick with this. I don't care. It's not like it's a big, huge deal for it at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Japanese flag there. See, a lot of, like, I won't use this flag, but I'm just saying, a lot of people really think the Somali flag, it's like, look at the Somali flag, and then you go look at Slovakia and Slovenia, similar flags, just different looking, like a slight different symbol, like, and then, it's like you go look at, like Taiwan has a sun, and it's like you could like never, hold on, and then you look at Tonga, and it's like Taiwan and Tonga have similar thing, except just a slight symbol change, to this. But then if you look at the Turks and the Cinco Islands, Tavalu. Guess what? You would think that, but then you look at the UK, and then you look at UK, right? And then you look at Australia. It's like people don't really seem to understand that when you look at a flag, that all these flags are totally different. Like Bahrain. It's like, I wouldn't have known that was Bahrain. Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a green flag with a red circle, but Japan's white and red. So it's like people need to stop being so complaining about these flags being so weird. It's just weird. It's like you look at Fiji, like it's just There we go. And then we'll throw the pill of the Project Japan back there. Trans blanket there. But it does not look like you could put a flag back there, so wouldn't Japan not utilize this per se? Doesn't Japan utilize a map? Am I not like mistaken that you use like this map and you have to figure out like make a mistake? No, I like the other bottle, the other bigger six-pack bottle. That would not be... Got the acoustic guitar there. Personally, I might throw that there. And then we got our water bottle there. But what about like, yeah, it's gonna show GPS, but we also have a notebook that has nothing on it, so but the SLI one is a little bit cheaper. Notebook Pro Gray. Needs license plate. That just adds a flow pipe, which I don't want. Not gonna change those. But painted and chromed. I think that would be better. But for now, because I don't have the funds, we'll just confirm the order. On that. Okay. Let's go to cargo market. Got a couple going in directly into Tokyo. Not going to do anything of that nature. Got Kawasaki. Like, yeah, we did go from. Now, if we were to do that, cauliflower. For that one, Kawasaki. Doesn't matter which one. Doesn't matter. Yamaha is the only one. So we'll just set you as our primary. But luckily, daily we do not have. We only have one now. Daily rather than two. But before we do continue, I am going to take a quick break here, guys, and I'm gonna grab some ice water, some ice water. So I'll be right back. I'm back. Alright, I had to go do a couple extra. I had to go do an extra thing as well, so. So, anyway. We got. One more job I'm gonna do for today. But before I do, I got a couple of things I need to check to see. No Save the World mission tonight. But this time it's our trailer that's damaged at 24. But I think we can manage our trailer being that much damage. Now let's hopefully we can get somewhere. Whoops. Yeah, we'll take this one. We might even be able to do a third for today, because today is going to be one of those days where as soon as we can start making a few things, if we go into our company, we do have two and we do get that per day where they don't. But as you know, um, skill training, just-in-time delivery, eco-driving. Personally, um, personally, um, having one of the eco-driving, we're gonna skill training. We actually, if we go to truck, no, hold on. Not that. Let me go to skills. Um, long distance, like just in time delivery. Like I don't even have eco driving. I don't have. I have 0 in eco driving, and the reason why I have 0 in eco driving is because in Project Japan, having maybe going 1 eco driving, you might be okay with that. But I would highly recommend that you go with more long distance first. That you go with these first. Like you go with long distance for your first one, and just in time delivery. I value fragile cargo. Um, would probably be your best bet when it comes to doing things like that. You want to get ranked in more money, bringing more money in, and doing things of that, like the high value deliveries. Increasing that's going to be your friend. Value fragile cargo as well. Long distance, I would say if you're in Japan and you're just starting, 3 things that I would recommend that you do is you go with long distance first. And start getting do that, or long distance or just in time delivery. Those are the 2 that I would recommend you start with, and at least follow kind of what I've been doing, because following these will take less time. And then eco driving, once I do, I'm probably gonna go I'm just going in just in time deliveries because of those reasons. Reasons for it. Okay. Tight turns, tight curves. Car turns. Like, to be honest, I would personally, if it were me, I would have done and came this way and then rotate around and then go back that way, but I want to follow what the thing tells me, Now I have the phone up there as an extra thing just in case. But we're saving ourselves. We're now down to 23. I believe it's Kanazawa. Am I right? Because that's the only one that I think it is. Hold on, let me double I can always get these mixed up. Yeah, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure. Sure, yeah, we're still well within. When I'm in here, I don't. It's the only thing I do forgo on that. Yeah, so, but there is a couple other things that I do need to share with you guys that is important for you guys to understand. That is the thing that I haven't gotten to yet, that I'm going to talk to you now about, is the Sony situation. A lot of you guys are probably like, you're um you're probably wondering a lot of things that I really am going to tell you, that is really, companies are starting to become more greedy on things. Companies are really starting to crack down on wanting more money, and there's a couple of companies out there that are really doing things, but Sony, to begin with, this is why I don't want to be tied down to a paid software, to paid operating system, and I don't like being tied down to utilizing paid software of any kind. There's been a couple of exceptions where I don't mind paying like a paid software or something, but I have kind of shifted a lot around using mostly utilizing open source software, using all of that and making sure that all of that is being used in that case. I am if it's an open project or a free project, free to use, I'm going to use it more than I'm going to use the paid. With the exceptions, I did went and downloaded the pro mods on it, to see if it would fix a Euro Truck Simulator thing. No, it did not fix that. I'm wondering if it has to do with something missing that it could not find. I might see if it's a pro mods company mod thing, see if that is an issue. But anyway, utilizing the software, and utilizing things where people are starting to become greedy, you know, where I don't mind paying for software, paying for things that I use, paying for games and stuff. But when it comes to games, like when it comes to places like Sony, I don't want, like, Sony is one of those companies that physical is going away, And I hate that. I hate that. Look, I hate Sony when, Sony and Microsoft are the two stores I do not support. Why? Why do I, I don't want to buy games off of Sony if I don't have to. Okay? I don't want to buy games off of these platforms unless I have to in order to get you some things out of it, because I don't mind spending it on Call of Duty or things like that through these platforms, but at the same time I don't agree with what Sony's doing, getting rid of physical media, because like I said, I only buy the physical media when it is when it's on disc, when it's fully 100% playable on disc. And that is a problem within and of itself. Within it, and physical, like I know I can go, but I needed to switch my thing. Check to make sure my mic was working, because to be honest, sometimes my mic doesn't always automatically work or available for you guys to hear, but it is working. So but it's one of those things where I spend a lot of my time looking at these companies. This is why I don't like being tied down to one company. I don't like being sitting around utilizing things like um, um, this is why I've switched and stopped utilizing programs that, I went to school, I learned Adobe, and I'm like, I'm done with Adobe. I can't do with it anymore. I'm done. I stopped using Adobe because of the practices that are going on and the things that are going on within the system itself. Okay? I am fully against the utmost egregious of what a software should be. A software should not be tied to a subscription-based service to access that product. Okay? I don't care. If you're paying for a subscription base, like PlayStation Plus, and you're accessing it through playing a game, but then it can be taken away at any point, but you can still buy the game. Okay, you can buy it separately, outright. That is better, in my opinion, than being subscribed to that and then trying to cancel your subscription to get to being absolutely egregious with their model, when, oh, you're gonna cancel Adobe because, and then when you try to cancel, they try to get really back in. Dark Patterns making it a little bit cheaper. Now they're trying to get rid of that and starting to take away that process because they don't want, because of Adobe being Adobe, and the product I loved old Adobe. Okay, before the Creative Cloud. Before. Okay, I am absolutely in fully use that. So I basically now, when it comes to utilizing things like that, I don't want to be tied to a storefront that can shut down at any point, that can end its life cycle and shut down because it's no longer being supported. Why do we have to have so many different stores and them just going out, right, shutting down the PS3 store, shutting down the PS Vita store, when when you'll no longer be able to play games that were digitally only on the PS3 that will never be digitally on any other platform. On any other platform is ridiculous. Shutting down physical media because they think that physical media is going to shutting it down is going to give people the not being able to play those games anymore is a problem. Okay, I have a problem with this, and the thing is what if somebody does not have internet access at all? What if somebody said that, you know, I'm going to buy the PS5, I have access to the internet right now, I was able to purchase it, I was able to buy it, but then I have to shut down the internet access because I cannot afford things, and I can no longer do that, and then now I can't access my games because I have no internet access. That's ridiculous. Requiring a digital copy in a physical media like GTA 6, I am there. I really would rather buy physical games than digital, and digital games that are physically in a code, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna sit there and I'm gonna tell you right now that I will not buy GTA at $100. GTA 6. If I had the money, I had the funds right now, I would not buy it. I am not gonna spend $100. I'll buy it when it's on sale. And that's how I'm gonna do things. That's how I'm gonna do things. That's what I'm gonna do when it comes to things like that. And I really don't like it when content that is tied to being online only, it is ridiculous too. This is why I am so much more into having these games be playable offline without requiring an internet. This is why I'm a big huge proponent of the PSP. This is why I'm a big huge proponent of the Game Boy. This is why I am I would say this is why I'm a big proponent of the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Why I'm a big proponent of the PS2 and the Xbox. Why I'm a big proponent of the Wii. In some regards, I'm not saying this is why hold on. I'm still gonna turn over here, but I was thinking I had to go that way. Nope. 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 Where I am not against these platforms, where I'm against these platforms tying things to digital content. I can go right now and play a game of Call of Duty and play that game physically on a full-on disc on an Xbox 360. Okay? I buy the game, I don't have internet, I can still play the game. I go and buy a PlayStation 2 and play Call of Duty. It's all on the disc. That's why I am That's why I like older Grand Theft Auto games when it's all on a disc. When everything is directly built on a disc, not requiring the internet to be able to play these games, is what I stand and what I will support more than a digital future. And this is me coming in and saying I still buy digital games. I still buy Steam digital games, but Steam isn't going anywhere. Yeah, Steam might cut out some of your games not being able to be purchased anymore, but they're not going to shut down the Steam store unless Steam goes under. Okay? You can go buy games on Epic Game Store. You can go and buy that. They're not going to go under unless they're not going to shut down their store unless they go under. It's the same thing with GOG and EA and all of these computerized launchers, okay, that have access to these things. And that's why I'm so much more of a physical person, because they can't shut your disk down. The only way that you can lose access to that disk is if it breaks, scratches, or you lose it because of a disaster or fire of some sort. Like losing it because of a disaster that goes on. That's it. That is all. And that's all I'm going to tell you is it's all I'm physically telling you is that games like this are not worth access to just buying physical digitally. And I really think that, you know, that's why I haven't really bought a lot of even if I had a job, I still haven't bought a lot of video games digitally. There's only been a handful of games that I've bought within the last 5 years that I have bought digitally, and that I've spent a lot of my time buying digitally. Is mostly Call of Duty every year, except for last year. But I have bought Euro Truck, American Truck, DLC, or that in regard. Like, if it's on Steam, it's the only place I really have bought a lot of games. I think the only PlayStation game I've ordered besides Call of Duty was Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. I have to realize, because like it's hard for me to judge, like, oh, that says exit, but that's exit which way? That's exit to the right? To the right, and then this one's like, yeah, I always get a little bit confused with some things. Because when I look at the thing, I do that, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's right, duh, gotta go this way. But yeah, no, I always go out and look at these different things for these video games and these things that are relatively out there that I prefer even the cartridge based Nintendo Switch. Personally, I prefer, like, Nintendo is I think the last one that's really gonna hold out a lot, because no, let me preface this, that Nintendo is going to takes a slower, Japan takes things a lot slower on a lot of devices, on a lot of things. They tend to go a little bit slower. That's kind of why a lot of their game, like why it's slow, um, in doing a lot of these things. They do tend to move society, it goes a little bit slower than a lot of what people um innovating. They do innovate, okay, they do innovate, but sometimes they take things slower than in a lot of things, slower on a lot of other things than the rest of the world. And but sometimes they do make sometimes Japanese companies like Sony makes really bad decisions on physical. A lot of people do not have access to the internet. There are probably a lot of game consoles out there that have never been updated, that have never been able to be updated to meet that standard of that. And Switch, to be more precise, the Switch is so much better at some of that, but that's also starting to really be a problem, because Nintendo's also starting to get into the game key cards and starting to get into things where, kind of leaning more heavily into those things where it's not always on the physical side of being able to have the game, be able to have access to it. Because remember, they shut down the Wii Store. They have shut down, I believe, even the Nintendo 3DS. I think that store shut down too. And all of these stores have shut down, that you can no longer, like the Wii U. Of course, most of the things that you bought on the Wii U are already on other platforms you can play, like Call of Duty, first and foremost, or on the Switch. Okay, and I'm being serious with that one. Nintendo does somewhat right, but they don't always do it right. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, the only company that kind of does things a little bit right is Nintendo. And to begin with, I still, but then if we go and look and we add in a fourth person into the mix, Valve does things even more right. Okay, Valve is the only company in all of this that has the best storefront out of all of them. Out of any storefront. Now, this does not mean this is not perfect. You go out and you play a game. What I think what they should do with the thing is, like, if a game happens to be if a game seems to happen to be on if a storefront, like, I mean, if a game comes out on the Valve storefront that's only like an hour long, you shouldn't have um you should still be allowed to not be allowed to return it. If you've played, if it's an hour long or 2 hour long game, and that's it, that's all it should be. Is that it should be basically if you played it for an hour, and you don't like it, you shouldn't return it. Okay, I I would say that right now. Like, if you sat here and played Euro Truck or American Truck for 2 hours, and you spent 2 hours and he's like, no, I don't want to play this anymore, then it's time, and you don't like it because of that, then you should be allowed to return it. But if you sat there and played 2 hours, like, um, there was a thing that I bought from Neverwinter Nights that was kind of like an RPG Maker thing, um, that I ended up not what time is it? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you this as soon as we get this one settled. I'm going to go and end it for today. But anyway, if you guys are watching, by the time you're probably already here and you're watching, make sure you guys hit that follow. Thank you all for today for following, especially Kalach Alahani for doing that. Also, thank you for just watching to begin with. I know that these things do tend to I tend to do these podcasts, these things that take actively that go between 1 to 3 hours for it. Um, and this is just a trucking podcast. Basically, we sit here do truck. Um, but if you guys are still here and watching, make sure you guys hit that follow on Twitch. We'll be back in about, after this one, we'll probably be back at 9 o'clock. Not quite 9 o'clock, just to be clear, but at 9 o'clock we're going to do some Fortnite tonight, because I'm more interested in Fortnite. And it will be festival tonight. For it. So if you guys are wanting to see some festival, that's going to be your best thing for tonight. Where we pick where I do festival on Thursdays is festival for new songs and stuff. It's from 9 till 2 tonight. And maybe a check on Save the World, but mostly for. But there is an update, so it might not be festival tonight per se. But it's festival, and it's the only night I don't change it unless it's dramatically for. Call of Duty update is on Thursday and only on Thursday, whereas Fortnite's only on Saturday. Where Fortnite's on a Thursday as well, then we still do Fortnite. I'm gonna go 41. I'm going 10 miles under than what the typical thing is. But with this new mandatory system, you will not have to worry about this new mandatory if you're driving in Japan as much, compared to compared to Europe, and compared to um, compared to the rest of this, compared to America. America, you do still have to follow it unless, you know, um, so. But because I'm gonna probably end up having to change tonight from festival to something else, because we might actually not do guitar per se. We'll just do tap, only because of my mom. Because right now the biggest thing that we have right now within is the air quality. Air quality. We have that smoke that's coming from Canada. That we're on the edge of this, in a lot of on the edge of it. I feel bad for New York right now with that. Like, New York has to really hunker down inside for it. What? not gonna... Like, yeah, we don't get... We only get 204 XP out of it. It does take a lot. Down here to do anything. Uh... Yeah. The Bobcat's the new one here. I don't have the JCP compact, do not have the Volvo construction, nor the farming. Farming machinery might be something we should grab. Do not have the forest machinery, the Crone agricultural equipment, nor for that. I do not own any of the trailer packs except for Crone. And I'm missing the Holland style tuning pack. And the Raven truck design pack. Didn't even realize that was a thing. Greek mythology is the latest one. But the most recent are these two. These three are the most recent. And if we do... Like, yeah. Since I know I'm missing this tuning pack, this Raven design tuning pack, how much is it on sale right now? 99 cents for it? And I believe it's for... Yeah, it's not worth it actually. Unless... But it is included in the ultimate bundle. The only other one is the Michelin fan pack. Wonder what the Dragon design, because these are truck exclusive design stuff. Okay, yeah, it just comes with those wheels. Not even worth it. The Goodyear at the same time, um, front you get tire like this one, you get more for your buck. If you like Goodyear, that'd be a good one to buy. But this is the only one here. And it's used and it's $3.99 for it. I'm still gonna add it to wish list because at some point, um, popular trends in Europe, your Euro truck customization. Feel more at home. And of course, like I said, if you are running this, this game can run on pretty much a potato. If you happen to have any AM4 products or equivalent, you can run this pretty much almost anywhere. Um, but I would recommend that you do follow the do not follow the recommended. If you're looking at getting a computer, follow something with the if you're going with AM4, going with um go with more of an AM4 with the Ryzen 5000 series to play this at a better decision. Run it like mine. Um, Upgrade it maybe if you wanted to. You could upgrade it to go with an AM5. Follow Jay's 2 cents build, and you'll probably be okay because you only needed 12 gigs of RAM, which 16 gigs you'll be more than ready to go with this. Um, for it, just to begin with. But recommended 32 though. Um, I want to see what other people have said about this. But if you really think about it, overwhelmingly, overwhelmingly, it's very positive about it. Um, I would say I would still get it myself because I have every tuning pack except for the Goodyear, the Dragon type, and the Raven. And to be honest, yeah, those are the only cabin things and stuff that I do buy for what it's worth. On those things, but it's not worth it for me right now. Um, I will still get it. It's not like um, it's not like I'm against those things. I'm just looking at company. It's services. I don't know why they. Yeah, I guess it would be considered a service. It's 21,994 yen. Um, that's what we have to do that, and we have only 48 days to get it done. If we are constantly getting $1,000, 1,000 yen a day, then it's a no-brainer. Then it is a no-brainer. Okay. Yeah, not having a lot of the older Wait a minute. Okay, so there isn't one here. Yeah, that's the only one there, is that one down there. And Takayama is 21 hours for that one to making there. That one's going to Tokyo. That one's going to Osaka. That one's taking sawdust. It's 18 hours for that one. But how long does it take for us to get down there? That's, for what it's worth, how long does it take us to get to Takayama? Just to get down here. It's an hour to get there. This would only take us, so maybe what we need to do is, yeah, let's go to the cargo market. We'll go up here, and just kind of see what we've got available. Because we don't have the other one that's available to us. that's going to that location right there. So let me go. We've got a lot of it looks like that one goes to right there. That's gonna take us an hour to get there. But if it's that one, that's... I want to see if we can avoid that. If we avoid that, so I'm trying to see, there's only two now here. Okay, so now that garlic one offers expires in 3, so we don't want to take those two. This one's the only one here that's going to be the highest ranking. Is this taking... Oh well, no duh. Okay, so that is basically for that. I was wondering why. Because that one's going to Enoshima. Guess what? I'm gonna take you. Yeah, and it's right that one. Okay, this is fine. Are you... Are you dumb, buddy? I'm gonna reload. Because we can redo this. Yeah, protective clothing for it. Actually, okay. I don't mind going around. Like, I'm pretty sure you could probably cross the yellow line. Because... for reasons. Because it wouldn't show you the arrows sitting right there. You wouldn't be allowed. But... I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to go that way. Are you gonna be freaking serious with me? You're gonna tell me I've been going the freaking wrong way when I haven't? But anyway, there's but I will tell you, there is one other piece of news that I did wanted to share, that I know it's one of those things where when you look at video games, you look at companies, you know, you rake in a whole lot of money. Like Grand Theft Auto rakes in a lot of money. They just did something that irks me the wrong way, that it might consider me to stop playing the game and never come back to it. Is people should, like, I will tell you, like, I am not somebody that you shouldn't, like, if you spend $100 because for reasons, I tell you, I don't go, even if I'm gonna tell you this, like, I do not buy Call of Duty. I'm not buying the update to Call of Duty. I'm not buying the update to Fortnite, or not the update, the gold battle pass that is there. I'm like, I realize this now, that it's not worth spending on buying a pass. It's not worth it. Why spend $1,000? Why spend $30 on a battle pass? What you're doing effectively by buying the $100 is you're spending on buying $30 worth of a battle pass with extra goodies. Like, the extra goodies aren't even worth it. They're all cosmetics. It's like, it's not worth spending $100 on even GTA 6. Like, I wouldn't, like, that's a little still something that I would be willing to pay if it was all on physical. If that was $100 and it was physical, I would buy it physically. 100% buying it physically, because they can do that. Now that they're just going to put in a code, why can't they just have both versions? If you're going to allow a code out there, why don't you put two versions out there and allow that to go? But no, they don't want to do that. There's issues with digital, like with the GTA Online right now, that they just reduced the thing that you can do online. One of the heists that they reduced the pink diamond from 1 million to 300. That's repeatable week, that you could do weekly to repeatedly do that. Has now been reduced to under $1 million. that now it's going to take you a little bit longer to get your mansion. It's going to take you at least, if you're like me, it's going to take you at least to get that, like, take you 12,000. It's going to take you at least a minimum. Like, before it would take you, like, 11 weeks. Now it's going to take you probably, to get, like, a $12 million mansion, right? Hold on. We're going to do, let me double check. Calculator, it's one. It would have taken you doing that 3 times and getting the pink diamond, which is rare, which is hard to get. But if you were able to get that for 12 weeks, you could get that mansion in 12 weeks. If you were getting it once a week, getting the pink diamond once a week, you would be pretty much basically, it'd cost maybe 10, 11 weeks to get it. Now it's gonna probably take you, it's probably gonna take you more than that. It's probably gonna take you like 15 weeks now. To do the heist that is solo, that they have reduced a lot of other things that would take you quite some time to get money and doing these things to do it. It's not worth it. I will tell you, it's not worth it to play GTA Online now, because if you're somebody that's just brand new getting into Grand Theft Auto because you just finally were able to get it because you're old enough, it's not worth it. Do not go out and buy the shark cards. It's not worth buying the shark cards, because all you're doing is you're feeding into the hand of allowing Grand Theft Auto to bilk you out for your money, and they know it, and it's not worth it. Do not go out and buy the shark card, and you still can have fun playing GTA. Don't be wrong. Don't get me wrong, but GTA. Really? But GTA is one of those things that, this is why I don't like a lot of these games that push heavily into monetizing the content out of the games, like heavily monetizing, like Call of Duty. Yeah, it's not really pay to win per se. Like I will tell you, it's not like something that it's not pay to win per se. A lot of people say, oh, it's pay to win. It's like, no.
イベント録画が行われました。
Really? Hold on. Sorry, I got a notification on my phone and I didn't really, that's why it wasn't there, but it's one of those things where when you really spend your time just listening to listening to these things and listening to these things from these companies is like listen to what they're saying, what they put out, and what they're doing, and look at their actions. They're really trying to milk you for your money. Okay. They are literally trying to get you to pay to get what you want, and it's not right. Pay to win is not a thing that I would recommend you do. If a game comes out, do not go and play it they have willing out there to lock behind stuff behind a DLC or behind things for cosmetics. You know, That's not worth it. Do not go out and do it. Like, the only exception to this is American Truck and Euro Truck. They are not doing it to pay to win. Okay, you're not playing a multiplayer game, you're playing a single player game, but they're doing it in a way that they have to make the cost up to pay for these people to travel to these countries. They literally travel to they literally traveled to South Dakota when they were doing to study South Dakota. They travel to these things to understand how to get these things supported within these games. Yeah, I'm gonna use this as a rotating turn. Okay. How long does it take? I'm gonna mark 2 hours there. I'm going to I okay. Okay. I said it's gonna be likely on about 9:30. I probably will be likely on at 9:30. No, ridiculous when we go and through things like that. Like, people are willing to sit out there and glorify these companies that do this stuff. People like horse armor. It's like, yeah, like, don't get me wrong. DLC has been around for years, but DLC to me is downloadable content. Um, whereas you go out and let's say you want to go play The Sims 2, all you have to do, you just go out and buy the whole entire discs. Same with The Sims, and you can still play those games offline. You have all of them, you can play them offline, you don't have to worry about digital DLC. You can play the entirety of the game on it. Um, um, it's one of those things where you look at these companies and think that they can easily get away with it. They can't. They can easily get away with. They can, and easily get away with it. They're gonna say, "Oh, well, hold on." And it's just one of those things that does make so we'll see Scarlet tomorrow night. Hopefully. But companies that can, like, I will say, like, I'm not against DLC on video games. I'm not against it. I just like that, what I would have done, and what I would have done if it were me, what I would have done is create a game, okay, that utilizes DLC. But then what I would do is at the end of the life cycle of the game, okay, getting to the end of the life cycle, I would then add a disc, completely available DLC right on that disc, for everybody to do it, or release, do it like Halo 2 did. Like what Halo 2 did, and release the game and then release a disc later down the line that has the DLC in it that you can get as an extra, and that would be fantastic. That would be great, because we have these hard drives, we have these things that we all rely on, right? Well, when we sit there and rely on all these DLCs and things, that's a great thing. Having them all on a separate disc. That's what I think um, when the PS4 came out, that's what I think what Call of Duty should have been doing. Call of Duty should have been one of those that releases those games on a physical disc with the DLC. Like release a DLC disc that came with all of them, like a season pass, that would cost like that disc for it. And I would do that. That would be me. Basically releasing these games that have a DLC, releasing a disc later that you can buy that would allow you to install the DLC and get you access to the game without having to be requirement to a digital store. Of course, I would still have a digital store, but that would allow for me doing it in those other places, and that would be great. And that would be great when we have these companies out there trying to take away our right to own these games. To be honest, if I was a digital company, I would be somebody that would start releasing these games on um, trying to figure out, talk with the ETS, talking with this, and release a disc that, you know, even like you could get it on sale for whatever it's worth, but going out and buying Euro Truck and American Truck, buying a $200 disc for Euro Truck and American Truck, to getting all the maps and getting the DLCs when they get done with the game. You know, putting something out that allows for us to have access to these games when these things are out there. And to be honest, if I was under Euro Truck or under these things, what I would do under, if I owned SCS, to be honest, I would bring in, contact ProMods and said, hey, we're just gonna release your product directly through our game. You're gonna get, it's gonna be directly GMC community, talking with these people, like the Donbass region, like making it accessible in game and making these things through some of these maps that are out there, and allowing for people to do it. Now, of course, just for some of those things, I wouldn't do it for everything. I would just update it through that reason. Through it, or go in and work with GMC community in a way. Look, So, anyway, these game companies just need to work better at producing this content and making it so that it's easier for us to have access to these games. When a service shuts down, like a digital store, this is why I really am a geek. This is why I think I would really ban PlayStation. I would ban Nintendo. I would ban Microsoft, Xbox in my country because of the monopoly, because of that practice of not being allowed to have multiple storefronts. And I think they would be, having multiple storefronts might actually be a good thing. But anyway, and it's not that I can criticize these things and still spend when it's worth the while. Like like I said, I don't criticize SCS for what they're doing. I don't criticize it. I don't criticize for, but there is a couple of things that I would change through SCS that there'd be a couple things that I would want to change with SCS that I that'd be well worth a lot of people's time, is just a mod, a thing to put in instead of having mods being searched through the Steam Workshop, of having a mod section that for like map mods and stuff, and then like put that through not utilizing Steam's page, but putting map mob, like having like a thing where you can put maps and things and then just install things through that, and not have, and then have it so it makes it so much more accessible to a lot of people. And not having to go through and clicking through these ad down here, so we should be and we will be able to get this finished for a lot of our stuff through it all, but just going through and actually exploring and actually experiencing a lot of these things. Japan is such a gorgeous thing to drive in. Like I don't need to drive in Europe just to have a great experience to playing this game. I think what I would love to see is SCS kind of allowing us, like this would be a dream of mine, to allow us to drive in to have one where you can, like, I know you can do it in older games, because in Euro Truck Simulator, um, you know, my controller did not work trying to utilize my controller on it. Euro Truck Simulator 2 does. Um, it's so much, like, this is so much better than the first one. I went in and tried the first one, to be honest. I own the first one. I can't drive it. I can't use it. You have to have a wheel or a thing, but this is much better accessibility. Sitting here, being able to utilizing a PDP rock candy controller that no longer exists. That I absolutely love this, the skull candy controllers. Like my controller, like this controller I've had for quite a long time for the Switch. I've had no issues, no I've had no issues with this controller, no stick drift, nothing. I've like, to be honest, like, they don't make these things like they used to anymore. Like, I would definitely buy more controllers. I am somebody that would buy more controllers if... Yeah, I'm getting a freaking red light violation when I'm like... I just stopped. Like, I stopped early late, but I don't think I would probably get a ticket if I did this by mistake. Yep, I gotta realize that I can't go that way. I'd be driving in the wrong side of the road. There's occasionally where sometimes where I'll forget that I'm driving in Japan. But I never get... I don't really have a lot of problems with it. Sometimes I do when I'm trying to stop because I'm speeding too much and I don't really pay attention to the speed. That's the one, but that's not just in Japan. I do that in America, I do that in Europe too. It's just one of those things where I have a hard time. I like looking at the scenery in the game. Even though I've seen the scenery so many times that, you know, it's just interesting to see a lot of it and just go through and experience it. But outside of just like see like that, yeah, I got a freaking red light violation because I couldn't stop in time. I know it was yellow, but I but I do like that they do that, you know, but I do like Japan for, like, its road networks and its road layouts a lot of the time. Like, I've watched a lot of Japan content. It's the only, like, traveling, like, I watch a lot of content from Japan, more than any other country combined. Um, it's the only other country. It's the only country that I watched more than any other uh, country to begin with. Outside of Japan, the only other country that I spent a lot of time with is the Netherlands, and that's the only other country that I spent a lot of time with. I don't watch a lot of Netherlands content anymore. I don't watch a lot of that. I only watch a lot of content from Japan now, more than any other country. Canada I don't watch as often, but but it's about the only other country that I spend a lot of my time uh, watching it. And to be honest, I don't watch a lot of people from watch people coming in from countries from around the world or other countries because I don't have the understanding of I don't have the understanding of um not the understanding but having the interest in studying a lot of other places. Like, I do have a couple of things where I didn't think I would have any interest in um, into some other countries. Um, Currently, um, the active countries that I do have people where I am subscribed to that are actively in these countries that I have actively where I am paying attention to, not paying attention, but actively where these people are in these countries. For example, actively subscribed to is Iceland, um, uh, let's see, Iceland, um, Canada. I know where we're headed. That's why I chose this. Chose this one. It's 1.8, but I don't care. Because right now, I could potentially get even more dinged. So, okay. Now, is it... that one there. What other countries? Japan. Actively, where I'm actively subscribed to, actively spending. Um, uh, where people are absolutely where I learn stuff. Spain, um, and Spain is not. I actually followed somebody who happens to be from the UK, moved to Spain because of reasons, because of the trans stuff in UK, um, and then but Japan, um, um, uh, I think there's one other country that I actively Malta. Um, is the only other country out there out of everything else. Those are the only countries that I do follow. And that's it. I don't have any other countries. I'm not really trying to actively look um at studying these. I was just like um Japan was the one that I kind of was like I was kind of actually been watching a lot of Japanese content for a lot longer time because I was acting like somebody that wants to visit Japan, but I want to study up on a lot of it before I do. Um, and that. Um, and Canada was and then all the other countries were because of what's going on here and being able to figure out and studying up on these countries before um, anything because we don't know what right now we don't know what's going on. Um, as of right now, the United States could actively still um, um, uh, we could be turning better in November, but we don't know. Things could get worse um, on it. So I will tell you this, guys. I'm gonna get off um, here for you guys here on YouTube. If you guys want to see more content from your truck, um, or from Project Japan, or wanting to see more content, um, across, um, YouTube, um, through single player driving Final Fantasy, hit that follow, and then after you hit that follow, guys, make here on Twitch. I mean, follow, subscribe here on YouTube. It's free to do so. Make sure you guys hit that bell notification with the all, because it is greatly appreciated if you do hit that. You guys get notified when I do go live. Because sometimes, like today, having some struggles um, with with things, I might just end up starting over on that profile, and just going with a Europe, and just not going with no mods for that, and just do actively take all of that. Maybe just use pro mods, maybe, but I'd still even remove that even, um, and just stick with it because there's still content to be had. But Japan, um, Europe, and other things for it. I will tell you, um, a 5.8. So I'm gonna get off. If you guys are watching here directly on on Twitch, make sure you guys are followed um, here on Twitch. I will be back in about a half an hour at the latest for some Fortnite. Because to be honest, that's what I'm going to do. Um, but unless Glass decides he's gonna message me now and say he's gonna get on, but um, anyway, yeah. So we will catch you guys back here in 30 minutes if you're watching on Twitch. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you guys are followed. On YouTube, we will be, subscribed on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully you guys are staying safe. Hopefully everything's going on with you. If you are having air quality issues, and you are in, over out in New York or in Minnesota or in in these things, stay cautious, stay aware, stay safe. Make sure you got things and being protective of what you're doing and other things. Um, and if you guys have any storms or anything, if you're out in the heat, make sure you keep hydrated and drink some water. And things like that. So, anyway, I will tell you guys, I'm gonna get off here shortly.